Quite simply, some sources are telling us that he did favour a move to Liverpool. Of course, they can offer Champions League football as well, so it remains to be seen what unfolds in that over the next couple of days when we see the reasons why this move didn't happen, if indeed it isn't to happen. An interesting adjunct to this in terms of Sanchez is that Manchester City, we understand, are not prepared to increase or even go higher on that £55 million offer, which is worth 60 when you include £5 million of add-ons. They don't want to go higher than that to pay for the player. So as things stand at the moment, Lemar and Sanchez aren't going to happen. Just a quick one as well, deal done as well. Lucas Perez, he had been interesting Everton earlier in the day on a season-long loan. He's gone back to Deportivo, the club he joined Arsenal from just over 12 months ago.
So could Lemar, rather than Arsenal, be on his way to Liverpool? If so, what does that mean for Philippe Coutinho? And of course, Virgil van Dijk. What is the future for him as well? Let's get a few answers from Melwood and Vinny O'Connor. Hi, Vinny.
Let's start with Lemar. The likelihood of him joining Liverpool at this late hour, well, basically that isn't going to happen as it stands, at least. Anyway, earlier our sources told us that Liverpool were not planning to rival Arsenal's bid for the player. And again, that stance hasn't changed, despite our sources also telling us that Lemar would have preferred a move to Liverpool because, of course, of the chance of Champions League football. With regard to Virgil van Dijk, again, we know of Liverpool's interest, but if they were to test Southampton's resolve today, it was our understanding that Southampton would again say not for sale. A very similar situation to the one that Liverpool have with Philippe Coutinho, and of course Barcelona's attempts to prize him away. If Barcelona come in with another bid, then we would have understood that Liverpool's owners would again have rejected that. But apart from that, we have kind of been ticking off the deals here at Liverpool today. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain signing for £35 million, a 5-year deal, £120,000 a week. Going out the door, Divock Origi, of course, on a season-long loan to Wolfsburg. A loan fee involved in that, and Wolfsburg picking up his wages as well. Alan Rodriguez de Souza has joined Apollon Limassol on a season-long loan. Ryan Kent could be off to Freiburg on loan. Mamadou Sakho, we know, is on his way to Crystal Palace to seal a £26 million move. That just leaves Lazar Markovic now.
What about Alexis Sanchez? More on him in just a moment. What about Johnny Evans as well? Well, West Brom have already rejected an £18 million bid from Manchester City for the Northern Ireland international. So is he staying at the club then? Let's find out. Go live to Paul Gilmore, who's in San Marino, where Evans is training with Northern Ireland, as I mentioned. Paul, what can you tell us?
Yes, good evening. Well, if City do come in with a late swoop for Johnny Evans, again, a lot still needs to happen. They need to offload Mangala, of course, and West Brom need to find a replacement. The feeling here, very much at this late stage, at the moment, it's looking likely that West Brom will keep their captain, Johnny Evans. It's looking increasingly likely that he will stay at West Brom in this window. Evans, as you can see, is currently training with his Northern Ireland teammates ahead of tomorrow night's World Cup qualifier against San Marino. Should events take a dramatic twist in these closing hours, then the finer details of any deal would be done electronically, we understand, and the medical issue not believed to be a problem if that does materialise. Some quotes from Michael O'Neill, the manager, just a few moments ago. It will be pretty much a paper exercise, to be honest. He says it doesn't affect us really. I just hope for Johnny's sake, whatever way it's resolved, he can deal with whatever the situation is, which I've no doubt he will be able to, and when he goes on the pitch tomorrow night, he's in a good place. So as things stand, West Brom look likely to keep hold of their captain, but with less than 4 hours to go. Let's see if there is to be a late twist in this one.
Yeah, Paul, thanks so much. Brings me nicely on to the next player I mentioned earlier. That is, of course, City's pursuit of Alexis Sanchez. What's going on there? Well, James Cooper is in Manchester now. James, they've come in again for him. Big money. Will it happen, though, at this late stage? What do we think?
Yeah, hi Kirsty. Blue skies over Manchester, but I think dark clouds over the final day of the transfer window as far as Manchester City are concerned. I think it all revolves, of course, around Alexis Sanchez. That bid of 60 million, that's 55 today, and a 5 million add-on was hoped to be enough to tempt Arsenal. It's my belief that, and my understanding, that Arsenal had sort of spoken to Manchester City. The lines of negotiation have been open for several weeks, and that if they'd got somebody else in, it could be a deal that would actually take place. So I guess in some respects you've maybe got 4 hours, Arsenal, to find a player to allow Alexis Sanchez to come to Manchester City. I don't think that's going to happen, bearing in mind, of course, what Ed McGee's saying about the Thomas Lemar situation. What will be interesting, of course, is the state of mind of Alexis Sanchez. He's seen a manager that signed him once before from Barcelona try and come in from again. 2 bids this week, 50 million, 55 and up to 60 now from Manchester City. His state of mind, bearing in mind, of course, he'll be told tonight he's staying at Arsenal and not going to Manchester City. I guess equally, if he kicks up a fuss in the next 4 hours, there might be a chance to save Manchester City's blushes a little bit. Also, maybe restore Arsenal with their situation there. And I talked about these dark clouds. There was hope, I think, of course, of a deal to take Alexis Mangala out of the football club. But it looks like Mamadou Sakho is now on his way to Crystal Palace, probably kiboshing a Mangala deal to Crystal Palace. So it looks as though Manchester City will be left without Alexis Sanchez, with Alexis Mangala, and that probably means that the Johnny Evans deal, certainly for this summer, is also off the cards as well. They have managed to shift almost Wilfried Bony. He's going to have a medical tonight at Swansea, £12 million move there. And Jadon Sancho has moved to Borussia Dortmund, a youngster, an under-17 England international, £8 million the deal there. So they have done some business, but I've got to say, with 4 hours to go, it's not the business Manchester City set out to do today.
Right, let's turn to Crystal Palace now. Things looking rather grim for them after they've lost their opening 3 games of the season. But it seems help is on the way in the form of a big-name defender they know very well. Let's head to Palace's training ground. Michael Bridge is there. Good evening again, Michael. Tell us more about Mamadou Sakho.
Oh, isn't it nice to give fans good news? It just seems a deal that works for both Liverpool and Crystal Palace. It seemed Mamadou Sakho didn't have a future under Jurgen Klopp. Now, early we did say today that Liverpool, 30 million was the fee we were hearing, but we did also say that Liverpool might soften their stance, and we understand it's a deal for around £24 million plus add-ons. It's a great deal for Crystal Palace. It's the player they wanted. The fans are absolutely delighted. And one of their fans from the supporters group has even given me a bit more info on then the song for him when his debut for Palace. It goes, "We're gonna rock down to Electric Mamadou, because now we have bid higher."
You are going above and beyond the corner. Stuart Pearce is cracking up, Michael.
Strange things to people. I'm telling you.
It's getting to him, isn't it, this deadline day? He's loving it, Bridgie, there at Crystal Palace. Just a question about this Mamadou Sakho deal, though, Stuart, if you can get through the fits of laughter. I mean, we know that Palace, he did such a great job for them last season, helping keeping them in the division. They've got him now for less than the 30 million that Liverpool wanted.
Yeah.
How good a bit of business is this for them?
I think it's a fantastic deal. He offers leadership. He gave them a massive lift last year when he came in. And where the club are at this moment in time, I think they need a lift, and this lad coming through the door will be just what they need.
OK, Stuart, thanks for now.
One player out of Newcastle, but will any player be coming in before the window closes? Keith Downey is live there for us right now. Keith, what can you tell us?
Well, what I can tell you, Kirsty, is that I'm not very good at singing, so I don't know how to follow that from Michael Bridge there. But it's bad news, I must say, as far as Newcastle are concerned. It's my understanding their transfer business for this window is pretty much finished. That news follows the news I brought you around half an hour ago when I said their move for Matt Targett, the Southampton left back, is off. They'd hoped to bring him in for a season-long loan. Targett and Southampton had hoped he would come here on a 6-month loan. That is off, and it also follows hot in the footsteps of Ashraf Lazar, Newcastle's fellow left-back, who will head off to Italian side Benevento on a season-long loan, leaving Newcastle so short at left-back. Their only left-back on the books would be Paul Dummett, who's out injured with a hamstring injury for the next 2 months. So tough times ahead for Rafa Benitez selecting a side. They thought at one stage in the last 48 hours that Dwight Gale may go. There was that £15 million bid placed by Fulham yesterday morning. That still remains on the table. It's been ignored by Newcastle. And it will not be accepted because they've failed to bring in a replacement for Dwight Gale. So Dwight Gale, as it stands, will remain a Newcastle United player beyond this window. In the last few days, Tim Krul has gone. He's having his medical right now down at Brighton. Sim de Jong has gone. Grant Hanley's gone. Ashraf Lazar, as I say, has gone as well. So Rafa Benitez, it must be said, is stuck to his part of the deal in getting some of these players out of the door, but Newcastle haven't managed to follow that up by bringing anyone new in. So we saw Rafa Benitez earlier. I must admit he did look a little bit frustrated. He spent just a couple of hours here at the training ground today. He's normally in for a lot longer than that, I'm told. He's normally got his feet under the desk until around 7 or 8 o'clock at night. He did leave very early. He is pretty frustrated, and as I understand it, business all but finished here at Newcastle United for this transfer window.
Well, while they may be a little disappointed up in the northeast, down in the West Midlands they're celebrating, particularly if you're a Birmingham City fan. They've just smashed their transfer record by signing Hotter from Brentford for over £6 million. And if you needed confirmation, Birmingham fans, here is the player himself with his brand new Birmingham shirt. They've been really busy down at St Andrews, and we've also had a few words with the player, and this is what he's had to say.
I want to help the team, and I don't want to put pressure on me. Only try to do my best things and try to have wins with the team.